Miss Ginger and Miss Jennifer, and this is our first installment of Cookbooks and Cauldrons. Everyone's ready for the Halloween season, and what's better than a spooky treat to enjoy at home? Our first video today, we're going to lend you guys a hand in the kitchen and show you guys how to make witch's fingers, mummy pretzel rods, cream cheese pumpkin muffins. So sit back, relax, watch the video, and if you get inspired, we're going to link all the ingredients used today in the description box below. And be sure to like our video and watch out for 3 more videos coming to you soon. So the first thing we're going to make today are pumpkin spice cupcakes with cream cheese frosting. So for this recipe, it's really simple to make. The only thing you need for the actual cake mix is spice cake mix and pumpkin puree. It's been a little difficult to find pumpkin puree at the stores, so if you can't find any pumpkin puree, all you need to do is buy your own baking pumpkin, cut it in half, and bake it for 45 minutes at 400 degrees, and you can make your own pumpkin puree. And it's just as good and better than the one from the store. So that's all you're going to need for the actual mix to make the cupcakes. And then we have these very cute Halloween cupcake liners that we found at Walmart. And we have some sprinkles to add on when we're done. For the cream cheese frosting, you'll need some butter, some vanilla extract, cream cheese, and some confectioner's sugar. And all of these items are available at your local supermarket or retail store. For our witch fingers and mummy rods, we'll be using the same ingredients and just switching it up a little bit here and there to give them their uniqueness. So you're going to start off with some pretzel rods. You'll need some confectioner's sugar and some white chocolate, melting chocolate, because that's how we're going to get the chocolate onto the pretzel rods. To make the witch's fingers though, we are going to dye our chocolate green, and we are going to be adding some slivered almonds for the fingernails. For the mummies, we will be leaving the chocolate white and adding some chocolate chips, mini chocolate chips to it to give them some eyes, and then some black icing for the texture and the outline of the body shape.
So as Miss Ginger mentioned, for the cupcake mix itself, we're just going to be using the spice mix, and you don't actually have to use spice mix. We just wanted to give it a little bit of fall flavoring. So we're using spice mix, spice cake mix, and the pumpkin that she already pre-cooked. So I'm just going to open it up, pour it into your bowl, hopefully without getting it everywhere. And then we're going to take our pumpkin and we're going to also put it in there. Now, the recipe calls for just one 15-ounce can. This is obviously not a 15-ounce can, so we're just going to kind of eyeball it. But if you get the canned pumpkin, it's just basically one of those 15-ounce cans. Yeah, that's about good. So now I'm going to mix it a little bit with the spoon, and then I'll take the whisk and kind of keep going. Let me just kind of get it all in there. And I'll take my whisk it a little bit. It's going to be a little chunky, but that's okay. It'll still taste really good once you're all done. We're just trying to mix all the ingredients together. Now, I know the cake mix says that you need the eggs and everything, but for this recipe, you actually don't need to add that. You're just going to add the pumpkin with the cake mix. So now that we're done mixing it, we have these cupcake liners that Miss Ginger showed you, and we've already have them in our muffin tin, so we're just going to put the cake batter into the muffin tin. So we filled up our muffin tins, and we're going to put them in the oven at 350 for 20 to 25 minutes. Just keep an eye on them at the 20-minute mark to make sure that they're not being overdone. However, it doesn't look like I have an oven here, so we're going to use some magic, and we're going to have them come out with some magic. Boop! So while your cupcakes are baking, we are going to make the cream cheese frosting. So we're going to take our cream cheese. It asks for 6 ounces. Usually your cream cheese comes in like the 8-ounce package, so maybe just take a little bit off to get the 6 ounces. So I'm going to put in my cream cheese, and then it asks for butter. However, because I'm doing this by hand, I'm going to use melted butter instead of the just stick of butter. So we're going to put that in there. And then it wants a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So we're going to put a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Put that in there. And then last, we're going to put our confectioner sugar or powdered sugar, and it needs 2 cups of that. So 1 and 2 cups. So now I'm just going to mix it with a whisk. If you have like a hand mix or like a KitchenAid table mixer, you can use that too. It'll probably be a little easier to do the cream cheese because I've softened the cream cheese a little bit, but it's not completely softened. So now I'm going to stir this until it's completely all mixed together, and then we'll have our cream cheese frosting ready for our cupcakes. And just like magic, our cupcakes are now ready. So if you're feeling fancy, you can do your cream cheese in a little bag. You don't have to use a pastry bag like we did. You can use a Ziploc bag, and then you're just going to cut off the tip. Or you can use a knife and just spoon it onto there. So we're going to use the pastry bag. And I cut it in a slightly diagonal kind of way. And then we're just going to squeeze, and hopefully this works because it's the first time I'm doing it. Not too bad. So we're just going to do all of them in this kind of circular pattern. Now that we have the cream cheese on, we're going to sprinkle a little bit of pumpkin spice onto the cupcakes. If you don't have it, that's okay. It's just kind of more of a garnish than anything, so you don't have to do it if you don't want to. And then once we have that, then we're going to take, I think I'm going to use these green and purple ones. Again, these are just a garnish. You don't have to do them if you don't have anything. And there you have it, your pumpkin spice cupcakes. Okay, now for our next one, we're going to be doing pretzel sticks. So we're going to have 2 different options for the pretzel sticks. We'll have mummies or witches, witch fingers. You can also do a bunch of different ones. We'll have links down below with different websites that we found really good recipes for. So if you want to do something besides mummies or witch fingers, you can go onto their websites. So we'll start with the mummies. So you're basically going to take your large pretzel stick and you're going to get your melted chocolate. You're going to put the candy chocolate in the microwave for 30 seconds. If it doesn't melt in the 30 seconds, you'll put it in again for 30-second increments until it's completely melted, just making sure to stir. If you don't stir it, it could kind of burn. So you want to make sure that it's completely melted, but that you stir it in between those 30 seconds. So we're going to get the chocolate. And you should have kind of a deep dish. We had a mug, so you can use a mug, but you kind of want to keep it deep so that you can put the whole pretzel stick in there. And you're just going to dip it and stir it around so that it gets all over the pretzel stick. I'm just kind of get as much of the white on there as I can. And then once we have all of it coated, fully coated, we're going to place it on our plate. Okay, and then we're going to take our fancy pastry bag, but again, you don't have to use the pastry bag. You can use a Ziploc bag and then cut a hole in it. My little safety scissors. So I'm going to cut it at a diagonal, and then you're basically going to, it's already coming off. You're just going to kind of go in a back and forth motion to get those strips so it looks like a mummy. And then once you're done with that, you're going to let it set for a minute, and then you're going to take your little small semi-sweet chocolate morsels, the really tiny ones, you probably can't even barely see them. They're super tiny. those are going to be the eyes. So you're going to put them toward the top. So they'll be our mummy eyes. So now that we've done our mummies, we're going to go over to the witch fingers. So instead of using the full pretzel rod, you're actually just going to break it in half, and it's very easy to do. You don't have to worry about that. So you're just going to break it in half. So you can do that with a couple of them. We're just going to break them in half so they look more like fingers. Then you're going to do the same thing that you did with the mummies and melt your chocolate. However, for the witch fingers, because you have white, you actually want to dye it. You're going to want to dye it green, because witch fingers are green. So we're going to dye the white chocolate, the couple. So we're just going to start with a couple, and then we're going to stir. So once you have the right color of green that you want, you can make it a little darker if you want, or lighter. I put maybe 5 drops of the green food coloring to get this consistency. So you just kind of play with the color until you get the color of witch fingers that you want. So once you have that color ready, you're going to take one of your pretzel halves, and you're just going to, again, stick it into the chocolate, and you're just going to stir it, make sure it's all coated really nicely, and you're just going to stick it onto your plate. And you're going to do that with all of them. Now we have our 5 witch fingers, which you don't have to do 5 exactly. You can go until your chocolate runs out. But so I have my 5 witch fingers here, and you can do 2 different things. So you're going to either use the sliced olives, or you can use the sliced almonds. The only thing with the almonds is you're going to need some black food coloring. That's sometimes hard to find. So I am going to use the black olives right now. Again, you can use almonds if you want. We're just kind of going for a fingernail look. So I'm going to just attach them to the top of my nails. So now that we have our fingernails, I have 4 that are the olives, and then I have 1 that's the almonds that I mentioned that doesn't have the black on it, but it makes it look more claw-like. So if you want to use the almonds, you can always do that if you don't have the black food coloring. So after they set for a little bit, maybe about 10 minutes, so they started to harden, you're going to take the edge of a utensil, or if you have a toothpick, that works too, and you're just going to put slight indentations for the knuckles. And then once you're done with that, then they're all ready to go. You're just going to put them in the freezer until you're ready to serve.